Hello Internet, welcome to Theory, the show where I look at theories and theorize if they were right or not. Today, I'll be covering this theory. So let's look at the evidence.
Toy Freddy, well, you know, he's kinda, fat.
Yet another theory confirmed, all in a day's work. It was early 2015, Monday morning. After a long weekend of performing in-depth research and analysis, I was finally ready to report my findings. I'll tell all of my friends something that will forever alter the course of their lives. The impossible would become possible, and they would all know the truth. Hey guys, I was told by a trusted source that Foxy was actually a good guy the whole time. The whole time. My evidence? Friendly Foxy FNAF Gmod animation.
No!
This was the pinnacle of entertainment. See? Look! There he is, being a good guy. And 8-Bit Gaming said it too, so it had to be true. See, here's the thing. I was 7, and little children have a hard time discerning fiction from reality, let alone fan content from official. It definitely didn't help that I also didn't know what the word theory meant. So I would just go around repeating things as if Smike was an authority on anything.
Now I do have to admit something to you guys. I've never actually played FNAF Theories before.
What? In hindsight, it's really weird that I and a lot of other kids got really attached to the series where dead kids possess robot animatronics.
Oh no!
But in another sense, that's actually really fitting.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life.
And that can be easily seen in the game's early theories. As a kid, your developing brain is a little sponge designed to soak in everything around it. And a lot of the time, that brain goes to some pretty weird places to fill in the gaps. A lot of early FNAF theories almost feel like a child trying to make sense of the world around them. And it makes sense too, because a lot of the time, these theories were made and spread by kids. It's actually pretty impressive, so little to go off of, yet so many places it went. In terms of theories with any amount of proof, the first game didn't really leave enough room for anything too deep. A few phone calls, newspapers, and Easter eggs was really all there was. This led to theorists, for lack of a better term, pulling shit out their ass.
Hey guys, sorry, distracted.
MatPat's first FNAF theory tried connecting the game to an actual murder in the real world, which is kind of insane. Thankfully, Matt learned his lesson after that. He'd never try to tie FNAF into real life again. Until he did. Most theories boil down to the roles of certain characters in the absolute bare-bones skeleton we call the story. The newspaper mentioned a killer, so maybe you're the killer. Or maybe the phone guy's the killer. Wouldn't it be crazy if Phone Guy was a killer, guys? Some theories weren't even based in reality. Sometimes people would just make shit up because why not? Maybe it's all a dream. That wouldn't really change anything about the story or game, but it's always a possibility, I guess. By that metric, it could be taking place in the Matrix too. Maybe Fredbear has you trapped in the amazing digital circus and all of the content farms are secretly canon. The issue is that whether or not that's the case, it doesn't really matter, because as far as the story at hand is concerned, that doesn't really change or recontextualize any of the events that happen in the game. If a bear shits in the woods, is that just a theory? Those early games were the ideal time for community to form. The grounds were untouched and primed for songs, fan art, shipping, and of course, theory crafting. There was an air of mystery around that first game, and that underlying, unsettling tone meant that anything was possible. Sparky the dog may have just been a rumor and quick Photoshop, but the games already had elements of the pizzeria change, and it even had an actual hidden animatronic. Who's to say there wasn't more hiding in the shadows? Thankfully, my hero XX Pro Class Gamer XX set the record straight on that one.
He was a rumor. He was fake.
What?
I'm about to get killed by Ducky.
Did he say ducky?
If the entire class believes smoking weed is correct.
Wait, why is he talking about weed now? Then there's all the basic things we got wrong, like Chica the duck, and whether Bonnie was a boy robot animatronic possessed by a small child, or a girl robot animatronic possessed by a small child. I mean, he is purpled, so it could really go either way. Wait. Purple guy! Hello internet! Welcome back to Theory. I'll be covering a new theory I just came up with. What if Bonnie was actually green? Now, things are already starting to get pretty goofy, but oh my god guys, Scott Cawthon just released the trailer for a second FNAF game.
London Bridge is falling down.
This would sound really scary when reversed. Hey! Good video! I'm subscribed now, and I never knew it could have been Mike! I always thought it was Phone Guy. This game made the story go from 1 hidden news article to like 4 cryptic minigames. This new level of content opened up a whole new world of theories. But more importantly, it reinforced a lot of existing ones with an extra layer of evidence. Maybe the Phone Guy really is the killer, who's visualized in the minigames as this purple guy. I mean, that does kinda look like a phone. The phone guy does say Foxy is his favorite animatronic, and the purple guy shows up with a nice big smile on his face in the Foxy minigame. This is some pretty compelling proof actually. Wait. That purple guy sprite is like 2 shades different from the other one. Are these 2 different people? And speaking of Foxy, at the end of the trailer he jump scares you. But if you listen closely, it kinda sounds like he's saying freedom. Is Foxy actually American? Really, we were all about as lost as before. For a good while, we had to debate whether or not this was a prequel or a sequel. On one hand, the toy animatronics seem more advanced, but on the other, the quote old animatronics look fundamentally different from the ones in the first game, in ways that can't just be explained by wear and tear. Looking back, a lot of these were actually pretty reasonable for the information of the time. Again, it was a very different playing field. Contrasting it with the FNAF of today, it's unrecognizable. Theories of that time were just explanations to the different, very minor inconsistencies. Foxy was a good guy, explained why his jump scare didn't really jump to scare. Dream Theory explained the inconsistencies and Easter eggs around the map. And of course, Purple Guy Phone Guy is just an easy answer to the mystery. Of course, every theory is supposed to explain things, but without any sort of larger narrative or lore, the deeper story elements were up to the fans to design. The game also introduced some new stuff. Toy Chica's missing beak, and new hidden animatronics. Things that would be the spawn of plenty of new theories. Although there were still a lot of flat-out lies, like that Purple Guy Golden Freddy hoax that just mashed 2 ideas from the game together, or that Endo jumpscare video that in hindsight doesn't look as convincing but still didn't stop me from believing anyways. In FNAF 2, the story goes from a complete side piece you had to go out of your way to look for, to something that's still pretty out of the way, but you'd probably come across pieces of in your casual playthrough. But I'm looking on scottgames.com and the future's looking bright. Scott's been making these games really fast. New teaser just dropped. And there's a strange figure here. With no official name, the community calls him Salvage. When the next teaser dropped showing a box of old animatronic parts, with him standing ominously behind them, it was theorized that Salvage was a combination of other animatronics, mainly Freddy and Bonnie, taking its parts from everything else. This is a really cool idea, and it's also funny that it wasn't real. To be fair, a few people got it. I wasn't one of them. I still remember when FNAF 3 finally came out and it was just Springtrap, an animatronic that's also really cool. One of my favorites in the series in hindsight, but it somehow still fell short of the expectations because I hyped myself up into believing Salvage was real. But once I got past that, FNAF 3 is where an actual story happens, with plot points, and hidden lore in these dipshit minigames no one would ever find without a guide. In a way, the direction of this story was a premonition of the group effort finding the lore would later become. Finding secret codes hidden in the minigame cutscene that you had to punch into the wall. How does anyone find this naturally? Of course, that was by design, but as far as group efforts go, this is less of an ARG and more like the Mortal Kombat 2 blood code, something your friend would tell you on the playground. From here, the FNAF lore became a lot more centralized. Channels like Game Theory became the forefront of the scene to a general audience, but the Reddit was also quickly growing. With that, there's now an entire community of people with the shared goal of tying these pieces together. When FNAF 4 came out, people were able to deduce relatively quickly that the bite at the end of the game was not the bite of '87.
Was that the bite of 83?
I now know this information because I saw the TV in the earlier minigame.
Dream theory would get a full resurgence, with people believing the game took place in the mind of a small child. But even if this was true at some point, it wouldn't be later. See, when it comes to the actual lore, Scott was kinda just doing the same thing all the theorists did, and kinda just made things up as he went. That box at the end of the game would never be opened, and like the text above it says, it went on to be forgotten. With that, the early days of FNAF Theories were over. Obviously the story expanded a lot, but I think a big reason for this was that the original kids who grew up making and spreading these theories started to grow up. They were developing a more detailed understanding of the world around them. And because of that, theories were now made to fit into that world, alongside every other piece of the story. After FNAF 4, the absurdity of theories wouldn't go away per se, but would fit into the controlled absurdity the games built around themselves. Stuff like Remnant doesn't really tie into reality, but it makes sense in the established fictional world, until something inevitably doesn't. Occasionally there are concepts like Phasgoo that are so weird and out of place, and yet they aren't theories, they are in official FNAF media. Sometimes it feels like the roles have reversed, and the original audience has outgrown the series, which is targeting a younger and younger demographic with every game. A lot of people like to complain about the modern direction of the series, that gearing the games to a more kid-friendly audience was a double-edged sword, one that costed it the horror and mystique it had in the past. This isn't wrong, but whether it was geared to them or not, the series was always insanely popular with kids. And I think the modern direction does make a lot of sense. The FNAF series will live or die by the hands of the kids that grew up with it, but as those kids grow out of it, that fate will be passed down to a whole new generation of fans. It's kind of been happening since Security Breach. But I think the most interesting thing going on in all of this is that the series never forgot that original audience.
Revival.
A lot of these theories would actually go on to be right in the long run, but for all the wrong reasons. In FNAF 2, people thought there were two purple guys, because there were different shades of purple in the minigames. This was wrong at the time, but there are in fact two purple guys, William and Michael Afton. Salvage may not have been real, but the idea of multiple animatronics combining into one was used for future games. Sparky was a hoax, but then he appeared in the movie. Actually, the movies brought a lot of early theories to life. The phone guy is Afton, Mike dreams inside of the establishment, which is as close as we're getting to dream theory, and the animatronics aren't really bad guys, just misguided. I think this speaks volumes about the priorities the movie had. It was designed fan first, and it gets there by paying tribute to the early mythos. FNAF's theories are the perfect analogy for the FNAF series. They can be stupid, but they can be compelling. You can give them no thought, or they can take over your life. You can laugh at them for being wrong, or you can imagine a world in which they're right. Me? I still want Foxy to be a good guy.